What's up, y'all? Today we are talking about a couple of advanced ornaments, triplets and double taps. I've mentioned both of these kind of in passing, particularly in recent videos, but it came up as a request recently to really break it down and talk about my kind of game plan for these. So we're going to talk about the how, of course, but also the when and why and all that of when to use these. So hang tight. First things first, let's talk about the mechanics of these two ornaments. And I'm going to start with the triplet because I have mentioned it a fair few times in the past, again in passing, as I've been breaking down some tunes. But here's physically how we're going to do it. And the reason why this is such a neat effect is because it's unique to the whistle. Every instrument has their own kind of physics things that work. A fiddler has the bow, and they can do things with that that we can't do. For example, well, in this case, one of the things that we can do is as we're going from a B to a C natural to a D, and that's going to be our triplet, 3 notes, we can sort of drag that B to C natural transition, and we accidentally get a G in there, like so. As opposed to very clean, where each note is separate. If you accidentally drag that G through there, when you play it up tempo, it has a really nice rhythmic effect. Again, like so. And particularly with jigs, it's got that kind of nice 6/8 groove kind of baked right in. So run these just nice and slow a few times, and then I'm going to also run them more up tempo as something to sort of practice for. So here's how we would do it. And then up tempo, where it has that sort of interesting little bubbly sort of rhythmic effect. Now, you may be asking yourself, what if I don't need a C natural? What if I need a C sharp? Great question. And you can do it with a C sharp, but it's not nearly as pronounced in that regard. So what I would say is, if the tune will allow it, I would do it. Even if it is a very major tune, for example, Silver Spear. C sharps, very, very happy. You could still work in that same triplet. Here's how I would do it. If you're really listening, you may have caught that that's a C natural, but amid the cacophony of everything that's going on, it's just going to sound like a rhythmic ornament. So the reason we always use C naturals is because of that accidental physics effect that we get because of the nature of the whistle. This also works on the flute as well. I believe, yeah, it works on the uilleann pipes. Things that have this similar sort of structure can all benefit from it and can all use it. So here's another tune where I would throw it in. I did this jig a few weeks ago or so. Very, very basic, very nice little simple melody. Here's how I'd work in a triplet. So I'm changing up the melody a little bit to work that in. You're using it as a way to get from where you are, in this case an A, up to a second octave D. That's sort of the natural spot to put it. The other great spot to use this triplet is as a transition from an A part to a B part. Really, regardless of the landing note, you can use it just as a way to get from one point to another. So that same tune as an example. And all I did was throw in a triplet to get from, we finished on the D in that case, and I added the triplet to go back up to an F sharp. Do it again a little bit slower. So I was already on the D and repeated that sort of triplety phrase, just forcing in that B, C natural, D transition, and then jumping from the D that I landed on in the triplet up to the F sharp. Again there. Just because I was already on the D, I could redo that triplet and use it as a rhythmic ornament. Make sure you're looking for spots like that, and maybe even practice using that transition between an A part and a B part as a good sort of test bed. Try it, see if it works, see if it doesn't, but look out for those possibilities of where to work in that triplet. Any chance you're going from a lower octave up to that higher D, second octave D, maybe it's an option. And any sort of transitions like that where you're already on the D, you can just double that triplet and see if it works. Again, maybe it doesn't, but it's a fair bit of trial and error with this sort of thing. Likewise, let's take a look at that other one, which I call a double tap. I've heard it called finger bounce, I believe. Call it whatever you like. That's what I call it. This is one where you're going to need to be pretty comfortable being able to play taps regularly and accurately and fairly quickly, because as the name would probably give you a guess, we're doing it twice. We're doing 2 taps. So here's how we do it. Right? Simple enough, going down the scale, and as you're landing on the main note that you're going for, you're just doing an extra tap. Right? Again, fairly simple. Up tempo, you want it to sound like this. Where it's real short and very just basically a blip. That's the one that I tend to use it on because that's just sort of how I learned it, on the F sharps. Not really sure why. That's sort of my cheat mode that I like to use. I don't tend to do it on the other fingers, but I would definitely recommend practicing it because I think if you can get very quick at all those, it'll be useful. You can apply it to a lot of spots. Let's use that same tune, that jig that we were playing before. Here's how I would do it. So let's actually, in fact, let's use the B part. That's the basic melody you could play. So pretty much every time I came back around to that F sharp, I'm doing a double tap. A regular cut there, but... And I like doing that because we did that very strong, to my ear anyway, cut, or short roll on the G. And then the double tap is just sort of a much more mild version of that similar sound. That's why I like it. It's still there, it's still accenting that note, but it's noticeably different. You have a lot of dynamic range with that. And then I would do a tap, or a crossing noise tap on the E. So each one of those notes is getting ornamented, but each one is a little different. And that's one of those things that's a lot of trial and error to see what sounds good to you. Here's how I do Silver Spear. So I'm doing 2 things. I'm doing an extra cut there on the A above it, which is sort of the inverse, I guess, of this double tap sound, as opposed to 2 sides of the same coin, really. But I like it because, again, dynamically, the first one's very sharp and sort of aggressive. The second one's a little bit softer, and I think it's a nice mix. So. Get that? That's how I'm doing it. So hopefully this is useful. I hope you guys got something out of this and a little bit of a deep dive on a couple of particular ornaments. Let me know if you liked it, and if there's other things that you've seen me do that you want me to take a run at and break down in a little more detail, I'd be happy to do it. Cool. See you guys in the next one. Cheers. Oh, hang on. Yeah. Giveaway drawing. Yeah, forgot all about that. Let's do that. Check that out here. Magic little window, and congratulations. Overlay whoever won, because I'm going to do that in a couple of days when it's actually time. Congratulations. Yeah, I'll reach out, swap information, get an address to ship this to, and cool. Cheers.